All right.
Okay,
There we go.
what we're doing today is, all right, this is advanced lesson number 5. First 4 weeks we were learning about basics, and then next one we're doing file management. Yay!
Yay. And just a disclaimer, so this PowerPoint won't go over everything. So you can learn more based on your own pace and how you would like to learn.
Okay.
That was bad.
Okay. So, all right. So what you want to do is, for basic file management, is whether you're using PyCharm or Replit, right? You have to create a text file inside your project folder, and that's where Python will look for the file. And so you can name it whatever you want as long as you follow the rules of file naming, and then do .txt. And Jesse, you're not muted, by the way, so we can hear you typing.
Is it me? Not.
It's probably me because my brother is typing really fast.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Jesse. I thought you were. I'm sorry for accusing me. Anyways, so if your text file is not in the project file, you have to specify the exact text location by using that file location format or whatever. That was just an example. And so the first thing you have to do to access it is by using a function. And so basically what you do is you have open, and then the parameters will take in two variables, or I don't know. So the first one is the name of the file, and then the second one is the mode of the file. So you have to specify how you want Python to interact with the file. So do you want Python to just read it, write in it, create a new one, or all those sorts of things? So you have to be very specific on how you want to interact with the file. So you can see in an example here, I set in a variable equal to the open function with the two parameters, right? The name of the text file, right, in quotes, and then the mode that you want Python to interact with it. So in this case, lowercase r is reading mode. And so, just reading mode.
Okay, next slide.
And so there's multiple ways you can interact with the file. So one, there's reading, just simply reading, just seeing the contents of the text file. 2 is appending, which means that you can add things to the end, or you can add things to the file. And then the third one is writing into a file. So what this one does is that it deletes everything in it, and it wipes it and then just writes completely new information into it. And then X creates a new file. And so for this case, if the text file already exists, then it will return an error. And so note, the letters don't actually change the file, but changes the rules in which Python can interact with the file. So if you say, like, I want to write it into this file, but it's in reading mode, it won't work. So you have to be very specific.
Okay, so here's an example of reading a text file. So first you create the name of the text file right here below the main. And then it's in the same folder as the replit. So basically the open function here is used to initiate this variable X and then read the names.txt file. And then if you put an integer inside the read function, you can print a certain amount of characters. And in here, the names.txt has, hello guys, this is an example for reading into text, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so here we have this thing called context manager. And so in this, it's like you can think of it as a for loop kind of thing. It's in okay, so I'll just explain this, right? So it will take the statement, there's two keywords, with and as, right? So it will take this open statement with this open statement as X, right? And then you have the colon. So with that statement as X, right? So it's basically like an initiation. It's a temporary initiation of a variable, but it only works inside the code block of that line of code, right? So anything within that block of code. So it's in context of that statement. So you can set. I forgot to reiterate what .read means. So x.read basically accesses the entire content of the text file. So what you're doing for the second line of code right there, if you do contents, right, which is a random variable, and you set equal to x, which is the file that we set it to file.txt in reading mode, right? And then we use the .read function, then it will just dump all the content of the text file into the content, and then it'll print that. And so in every single time you run every single time you run an open function, it's good practice to do a close function. So Python stops all of its code inside of the all this. It takes its hands out of the text file and it stops interacting with it. And so it's good practice. Usually, if you don't use a context manager, right, with the with as statement, right, then if you use it with that, then the context manager will take care of it. And so you don't have to do it. And you can see that in the second statement with open, and then you do file text. And then this time I put it into appending mode. And so then I just do x.write hello. And if you access the text file, which I forgot to show, but it will add the word hello to the text file.
Next slide.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to the function. So here are the different functions and in the way you can interact with the file. So we just went over .read, the read function, and as Sean just said, it will just read the content of the text file. And here's an example. If you do .read 5, then it'll print out the first 5 characters that are already in the text file. There's .write. It returns all the specifies text to the file, and it'll overwrite the text already in the file. So you can either add to the end or overwrite, and it depends on the parameters you put into the open function. There's the .read line function. It will read a line of the file line by line. For example, if you run it once, then it'll print the first line, and if you run it twice, it'll print the next line. And finally, the .close function, it just closes the file, and it's just good practice when you're finishing up with your program. And here's an example of using loops to read lines. So right here, there's a for loop that will print the text in the names file line by line.
Okay, so me and Andy decided that we're going to do a live demonstration. Hopefully this goes well.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Yeah. You guys see this? You see it?
I see it.
Okay. So what I want to do is, so we have a replit file, this project file, very simple. We have the main script, and then we have the example text. So this is empty, and you can write anything within it, and yeah, so this is not a script file. Very easy to understand. And so what I want to do is I have the location, a list of locations, and a list of ratings. And as you can see, I'm very biased. Ellicott City is a 9 out of 10. Miami Beach is for crazy people, 3 out of 10. Los Angeles, also 4. Basically, yeah. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to combine this element, the first element of list 1 and the second element of list 2 together. So it should say Ellicott City and then has a colon and then 9, so it shows a score. And then after I combine these two, I wanted to put it inside this text file line by line. So I'm going to show you how to do that, hopefully. So first we're going to write a function that combines these two lists. Hopefully I don't crash this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, so the way you define a function, I'm surprised that we still haven't gone over functions, but I'm pretty sure you guys all know functions. But if you don't know how to write a function, basically how you do it is you initiate it by writing the word def, and then whatever you want to name it. So I'm going to do list, combiner, and then so it's going to take in, for this, you can write whatever parameter. I'm just going to list 1 and list 2. And then you finish it off by adding a colon to it. And so I'm going to write an if statement, and I'm going to say if the length of list 1 does not equal the length of list 2, right? So this is just checking if the length of these two lists or the input codes are the same. If it's not, an error won't happen. It's just warning the user that it's not equal. So the lists are not equal. And then so then now we have, oh crap, okay. Now we have counter. So this is, I'm running a loop. And so before this loop, I'm gonna have an empty list container. And then so while the counter is less than the length of list 1, right? And so it doesn't really matter which list you're using. It's just saying like if I want you to run this as many times the length of the list, right? So I'm running it this many times, and then so I'm gonna do combination. This is just a temporary variable, right? Combination equals list 1, right? And then the counter, and then plus 2, and then I'm gonna add a colon, and then I'm gonna do list 2, and then also I'm gonna have a counter. So what this will do, I don't know why there's so many green lines. Okay, whatever. So now we have this variable that's equal to the first element of each list, right? And then so now we're gonna do combined, right? This is the name of the list, the empty list, right? And then we're gonna append it. I'm gonna add it, and then combination. So we're gonna add this entire statement to combine, and it keeps doing that. And don't forget, since this is a while function or while loop, you have to do counter equals plus equal 1 to have a closed loop so it doesn't run infinitely. And then what you're going to do is, since this function is a function, it's going to return something, and that's the combined list. And so now let's test this. I'm going to print list combiner, and then we're gonna have list, right? The list is the list of cities, and I'm gonna have ratings. And so if we print this, please work. Okay, yeah. So we have Ellicott City, colon, 9, Miami Beach, right? So that's just a simple test. And now we are going to set this what is this? Wait, I could just, hold up. Right, hold up. I could just copy this, hold up. So I'm setting a variable, x equals that. So we have this combined list. So I'm just taking this list and putting it into x. And so now we're gonna have a context manager, right? Here, I'm just gonna write context manager, right? And so now we're gonna have this context manager. So we remember the two keywords, with. So with this statement, we're gonna use the open function, right? And the name of the file. So the name of the file depends on whatever you created. So it's example.txt. Oh, okay. And if you don't write the right name, then it returns an error, I'm pretty sure. And then so we're going to do with this statement as file, right? So it's just going to take this entire statement as file. And in this context, right, we are going to do for each line or whatever, for this case, whatever it is, right, in X, right? So for each line in X, so for each element inside this list, we are going to take the file and write it. And we're going to take the name of the line and we're going to put it into the file. And we're going to have a new line. And so, oh gosh. Okay. So we're going to test this, right? So we created the function that combines these two lists, right? And then so we set that equal to the X, right? And then we're going to take each element of that and write it down into this file, in this context manager. And so once we run that, please work. It should work, yeah, there we go. So we have this, each element of that list inside of the text file. And so if we run it again, yeah, it's gonna just print twice again. And so you can just delete it, right? And so I'm gonna go a little bit further and I'm gonna do context manager 2. And then I'm going to create another context manager. I said that twice. And this time I'm going to put it in reading mode. Or, yeah. So the name of the file. And then we're going to put it in reading mode. Oh. As file. So this time I'm going to write a loop. So what I want to do. Wait, hold up. So what I want to do is after this function writes all the elements inside this example function, I want to access the fourth line. And so what you want to know is for all computers, basically, the first line is actually the 0th line. And the second line is the first line, right? That's how computers think. So what I want to do is run this loop 4 times, right? So we're going to have a counter equals 0, right? And so I'm going to write a basic for loop. For I in range 0, 3. So this is going to run 4 times. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not stupid. Okay. So we're going to have X equal to file.readLine. And so what I said back in Andy, I'm not sure who said it, but back in once you run readLine, the function readLine, and then you run it a second time, it will print out the second line. And if you run it a third time, then it prints out the third line. But it only prints out, quote unquote, the results of that line if you say print. But we don't want to see any of the other lines except for the fourth one. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have this printing, quote unquote, silently in the background. And then until the counter equals 3, right? Which is the fourth line, we want to print it. So print file.readLine. And so the system will be like, okay. And so hopefully this will work. Yeah, okay. So we didn't see this first, but we did Ellicott City, that's the first line, Miami Beach, Los Angeles, San Francisco. San Francisco is the fourth line. And we ran this, 3 times. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's a very light kind of, light kind of demonstration of what you can do with reading and writing files. So yeah, that's all I got. Andy, you can take it now.
Okay.
Does it work with a .py file? What does that mean? Oh, like reading and writing into a .py file? I'm not sure. I haven't tried that before. You can do that for me. I don't know.
Or just you can just create a new file called example.py and then try and write into that.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. I haven't asked that question, so you can do that.
Okay. I'll do my demonstration. I don't really think that's that much different, but yeah. So if I try like this, I'm gonna try this program where it just prints the current time. So I think we'll try this, and then I'm just gonna go through this really quickly, and then I'll get to the writing to the file pad. Okay. Actually, wait, I don't need that. I think this should be enough. So here I'll create like a new file. It doesn't exist yet, but I think once I run the program, it will appear over here below the main function. So I'll just create a new file called like present time or something. I don't think it really matters. And then I want to write into it what the present time. So then I use the f, which is a variable here, f.write. And then I don't know, I'll just put a little bit of length into it. So today's date. And then this. Plus string date today. Okay, I think and then I'll close the file. Hopefully this works.
Is it installing the library?
Yeah. Okay, so right here it created a new text file, present time, and then wait, no, I didn't do that right. Oh, wait a second, I messed up the quotation marks. All right, let me try that again. Okay, there we go. That's how it works. So it added the text file and it still printed out the today's date and current time, and that was because of this time zone library. And I could keep running it, and I think it will update to the current time. So that's it.
That's pretty good.
It's interesting. So
Okay,
wait, I still need to share.
Yeah. Can you go back to the thing?
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so we're done. very easy. So we learned how to read and write into files. And we built the demonstration so we can just give you a little bit more of a sense of how it works. Hopefully those demonstrations helped a little bit. So the program is create a program that logs the user's input. And so what we want is to have each log include the date, time, and day of the week before the chunk of the code that the user inputs. So let's say I input, hello, my name is Sean, and today I am logging how coronavirus is, I don't know, whatever, right? And so we have that statement, and so what I want to do is have the date and time before that statement, right? And so, it's I think it's a very basic thing to do. And so what we did as a bonus, because I couldn't figure this out, but I'm sure you guys can. As a bonus, we want you to create the program such that the user can access any log by specifying the date. So let's say you have a program that asks for the user's input, like what month, what day, and what year do you want me to print out the log. So if you initially you would have to have a set of logs, right, with certain days and dates, right? And so the program will look for that specific date and then print out whatever is inside that log. So I don't know how to do that. That's why we did it as a bonus. And so, your research or your homework or whatever is to research the date, time, and time zone library. And those are the names of the libraries that you have to install. And if you have any trouble to install it, remember that the function to install the program is pip3. And I think in Replit you can install, if you do like import like NumPy, for example, it'll automatically install it. So you don't have to worry about that. But if you're doing it in PyCharm, then remember to run the pip3 command. So yeah, that's basically homework. And so, yeah.
Yep, that's it. Happy programming. And here's all our information, the social media and YouTube and website, and back to the Discord server.